Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to Intuitive Defense.
That's us.
In our as yet unnamed gun room. What we have going on here today is the first and inaugural
The fuck are you doing?
build.
The fuck, you fucking retard! Goddamn door! Motherfucker! Fuck you!
This is the. Did I give our names? I
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck's going on, man. Everything's fucked now.
I'm Kennedy, and this is
I'm
Baker.
going home.
Welcome to the inaugural. That means the first video. In this particular video, we're going to be fixing a weapon. What weapon, you might say? I'm glad you asked, you son of a bitch. It is my weapon, my Frankenstein rifle that I built from a bunch of parts. Baker helped me build it. Whenever I went to go shoot it, put it on the range, had some other people shoot it, and things started getting a little wonky. So walk with me to the safe.
Go over here.
Do. Oh, don't bump. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Don't worry, baby. I got you. Nope. Okay. Gonna go over here to Baker. Gonna walk in at the same time.
Where the hell is that?
What are you doing?
I'm looking for all the likes, shares, and subscribes that they're gonna be able to have, but all I found so far is a shitty Glock. Have you seen them? Well, here we are at the bench. Myself and Kennedy, who's not here yet. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is obviously the inaugural video here at the workbench. We're still trying to figure ourselves out, evidently. This is Kennedy's rifle.
It's Frankenstein.
This would be a good start, taking the sling off.
Yeah.
There's two known issues with this rifle that we're gonna take a look at today. The first one, and you may not be able to really see it too well.
This 4-inch should not be able to do that.
Yeah, the rail shouldn't be able to just shake it like a Polaroid picture, but we can.
You don't suck start a rifle like you suck start your boyfriend. Sorry.
Oh, aw. The next one is the buffer tube. Yeah, you can just go this way if you wanted. So before we start, even though we've already checked it, but we'll just check to make sure it's clear. Clear? You happy with that? Me too. Ah! Just joking. What I'm gonna attempt to do is see if we can catch the area that's problematic on this drop-down camera. So right into here is where this locking block goes. What happened, and I'm not exactly too sure, because it seems that the castle nut is still tight. It's just the tube is now rotating inside the castle nut because there's no way to lock this buffer tube up against the lower because there is no block there. I think one of two things either happened here. One, somehow the castle nut became loose and then the locking block fell out and then the castle nut became tight again. Or the locking block was never put in there. Those are really the two options that's causing this to free spin.
If I wanted to be cool, I would go for option number 1. Knowing myself, though, it's probably option number 2.
To be fair though, that is an easy thing to overlook, especially if this was your first time putting this in. Even though there's instructions, but who the fuck reads those?
This was my first time building a rifle. Like we've already gone over in Kennedy Learns Guns, I am not a gun guy. I don't really give two shits about guns. I care about what you can do with the gun. So I'm quite new to this despite being military, law enforcement, private security, firearms instructor.
Yeah, and a lot of military, they don't do this part of it, unless you're an armor or something like that. This is all armor level stuff that would be done in the military. So a lot of military people don't even get this far into it.
Either you're an armorer or you're the armorer's secret boyfriend that he uses to satisfy his homosexual urges late at night inside the armory while his wife is dealing with these 4 screaming rugrats at home, and the armorer has never had a chance to go through his homosexual fantasies and urges before he joined the military during the time of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
And when I was in the military, I was one of those things. I'll let you figure out which one that is. So what we're gonna focus on first is fixing this right here. So all I'm gonna do is just loosen the castle nut. But before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and pull the upper off of the lower just to make things a little bit simpler. So I'm gonna push the pins towards you if you just wanna pull them so gently. Pull them, pull it real good. No, push, then pull with a little bit of a twist. A knife, I think that'll help.
There.
Oh, cool, no blood.
I needed it.
Yeah, no blood yet.
Oh, yeah.
Ta-da, here you go. So, inside you have, this camera might be best. So the buffer and spring, obviously, are kept inside the tube. And then the buffer retention, right there, is held in place.
I call it the nipple.
Yeah, and there's a reason why he's got his tongue stuck in here like 4 or 5 different times. The retention is held in place by the buffer tube. And so if you just back this out just a little bit, then that will come out. Just a little bit. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. There we go. And so we'll go ahead and pull this out. That way it doesn't go flying out on its own. Do me a favor.
You just want to remove all the fun things.
Shukran, Habibi. And we're not gonna take out the tube all the way, even though we absolutely could. But there's another important piece that's being held in place by this backing plate. This pin that helps hold the upper in place has a spring and then a little
Tit.
Another tit. I can't think of the actual name of it right now.
Penis.
Nope, we'll stick with tit.
Uvula.
That holds this in place. And so if you just remove the back plate and the castle nut quickly, then there's a chance all that stuff is gonna detent. That's what I was looking for, detent. What we have to do first is we need to remove the castle nut. Not remove it, we'll just loosen it up. That way we can put in a new mil-spec locking block. Luckily, I have a few of those. And so I will go ahead and do that. I'll get the locking block if you want to get the Magpul armorer's tool right there. This is what we're going to be using.
This is where we're going to be using the Magpul armorer's tool. You see the three little titties?
Evidently he's on a nipple kick today.
I see nipples everywhere. I grew up in Houston. There's a great
6
big
cents of nipples.
There's a great big refinery outside of Houston in the town of Pasadena, and it's got these bunch of domes with these tiny little smaller domes on top of the large domes.
Yeah.
And every time I drove by those things, I pointed at it, even as a child. It went titties.
I knew. When I would make the drive from Washington State down to Southern California, you pass Dolly Parton's boobs on I-5 going down. So this is a brand new ASAP kit that comes with the plate and then the locking block. So we won't be using that for this.
Because we've already got one installed right here.
All we need is the blocks. And so each kit comes with 2 different blocks. One is a commercial block and one is a mil-spec block.
Yes.
The commercial block is just a little bit longer than the mil-spec block. If you didn't have them in the packaging, it'd be very difficult to identify which one's which unless you had them next to each other. We need the mil-spec one. So I'll go ahead and remove this from the packaging, probably dropping this on the floor and then having to grab my backup package. Do you want to loosen this?
Sure.
You want to be a big boy?
I do.
You want to be a little helper?
I do.
You want to loosen it?
I do.
All right, so go ahead.
So just.
No. We'll leave the buffer tube on.
Well, you didn't specify. You didn't specify.
Well, this is already loose.
Well, you didn't specify. So it's this right here.
I'm gonna drink coffee. Well, you F this football.
Do I have the? Yeah, I got the right one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in there.
There you go. Here, let me help you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, it should be.
Oh, I scratched the shit out of that buffer tube.
Yeah, it's all right. It's yours. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, press down right here. Hold that in place. We'll just back this out some. And we don't even need to take the plate all the way off, but we will since we're here, and we'll just show the spring and detent, not nipple, detent that we were talking about a little bit ago. All right, so slowly let off that. Yay, we didn't lose anything. All right. And the castle nut just stayed right here on the buffer tube. So this is the spring right here. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, and your spring's all twisted and bent.
How the hell did that happen?
Oh, no, it's your spring. You can see that it's all effed up right there.
We're gonna roll with it, gentlemen.
And then,
Fellas. Oh, fell out.
and this here is the detent.
The titty.
Teeny. As you can see, it is extremely easy to lose this if it goes flying out.
Let's find out.
And then that is what holds this in place, right here. And so, as you can see, there's a groove on the inside that detent sits into. And there's two little notches on the inside that once it's in the closed position, that detent extends into, and then when it's in the open position, that detent extends into. So that's what holds this in place. And then there's a similar one on the front side that's actually being held in place by that the front pin. That's what I want to call it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna for sure need a White Claw after this. And whenever you put this back in, you just want to make sure that that groove is facing the area in the back, the threaded area, otherwise it won't fit in properly. So now what we're gonna do is, since we have the locking block, the proper locking block that we need, we'll go ahead and put this back together and we'll just lock legs.
Okay.
This is where the magic happens.
This is how we come up with all of our video ideas.
All right. All right.
Okay, that's entirely too warm.
I don't need you queefing on my kneecap.
I don't know if the liquid is from you or me.
All right, so I'll put the detent in. Boop.
Okay, it's in.
And then what I like to do once I put the detent in, before I put everything else back together, is just make sure that that pin actually stops when I pull it out, which lets me know that detent is sitting in there properly. I'll put this janky spring back in. All right, so there's that. Now we'll put the plate back on. Before I do that, let's talk about this for a second. Right here, you see this groove. All right, we'll show it on this camera just in case. So this groove right here is where the block will go into. Right here, there's a little groove in the thread. And what happens is this sits in here like this. And then that block holds the ASAP plate and then the threaded part of the buffer tube in place by not allowing it to twist. So that's why we were getting that twisting motion, is because that block wasn't in there doing its job.
I blame Destiny.
So.
Destiny and Turkey Tom. That's who the.
Oh,
that's.
I thought you meant your ex-girlfriend, Destiny.
No. I stopped dating black strippers a while ago. You get the springs.
Yeah. And boop. All right. So now you hold.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yep.
Watch my eyeball.
And the reason I stopped dating black strippers named Destiny is not because they were black, it's because I got way too into Kwanzaa. And I spent way too much money on trying to find the little dashikis in my size. They all had to be custom made, and it's just unbelievably expensive. Ooh, I hear threads.
We'll just put this. Actually, let me get. This is where the fun part is here. Is attempting to get this all lined up.
That one.
Is that all wrong?
We just stopped recording.
It's not even on. Back in the game, folks. All right, so we've got that being somewhat held in place by the castle nut. I'm gonna rotate this up and we're gonna drop the buffer retention.
It's the other titty.
Yep. And then I'm gonna rotate the buffer, so hold that until it just barely makes contact with that retention. All right, bring this back down. Look to see where the groove is. Pull that down. Hold on, bring it back up. That spring's all crooked. It's all crooked-eyed. Get a flathead. That janky spring kind of makes things a little bit difficult.
I don't appreciate you talking shit about my spring.
I'm just saying.
He's fingering the titty right now.
All right, move this finger some. All right, so now we have that groove and that opening on the back plate lined up. So I'll go ahead and put in the locking block, which can be a fun task to do.
Fortunately, the floor, the concrete floor of our little workbench area right here is white or gray
I'm
concrete.
gonna get a non-magnetic
Okay, why don't you do that?
screwdriver.
So the floor is a light color and the locking block is a dark color. So if we do drop it.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty tight fit with that locking block and the groove. It's probably why you didn't put it in the first place.
More than likely.
Yes.
More than likely.
Ooh, I almost got it.
Tab it, Daddy.
Oh, it's going. We are in business.
Nice.
So, how well is that showing up in there? We have to come a little bit higher, right here. So this is the locking block right here. You can see that there's just not a lot of space there, and it takes a little bit of finagling to get it to properly seat. Now that's done, we can go ahead and turn this castle nut, lock it into place. And you can see that I can turn the castle nut without it moving the buffer tube, which means the buffer tube is locked into place.
Matter of fact, you cannot turn the buffer tube.
Yes. All right, so now go ahead and tighten it down. I will sip my coffee. Remember, lefty righty, righty loosey, or something. I think I said that backwards. And I may have left out a few words.
Okay, so that ain't going anywhere. I don't know how much...
strong is this ain't? Like this for sure ain't going anywhere.
Well,
it ain't
let me
gonna
try
go
to loosen it.
Oh God, that went somewhere. But not too tight.
Yeah. Boom.
All right. All right, so now what we want to do is make sure that the buffer retention works properly. It goes down easily.
Need to make sure the titty retracts.
Sometimes what will happen is when you put the buffer tube in too much and you put too much pressure against this retention, especially when you start tightening the castle nut, then it'll prevent this from easily retracting down. You don't want that. You want it to be able to go in and out easily. Kind of like a Friday night for you.
Right.
With the ladies that you frequent. Over there on 5th Avenue. You know the ones. All right, buffer tube's in place. That's good. No twisty on its own.
Nice.
Castle nut's in place. You can stake the castle nut if you really want to. I typically don't. I just check them occasionally to make sure the castle nut's still tight.
What does stake mean?
All it is where you take a punch and then you
flare it out a little bit?
Yep. Right there on the back plate in the castle nut. That way then it won't loosen up on its own. All right, so that's done. Project finished for that part anyways. Now we're gonna turn our focus onto the front rail. I don't know how much you can tell there on camera, but here on the drop down you should be able to see it. There's a lot of twisting action going on there. So I would say that the issue is these are loose just a little bit. And so let's see if that is the case. Loosen up some.
Well, look at there.
Ta-da, fixed. Now it's not loose anymore.
That's gonna be.
And you can warm your hands up on cold days like this when you're shooting. That's what you wanted, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally what I wanted.
Okay, good. Here, I'll even tape this here so you have a front sight.
Thanks, appreciate that. Sighting's gonna be a bitch.
Little groove here and here. And so once this gets pushed up against the upper receiver, then those fill the area just below and just above the barrel. And then that's what helps hold it into place. And then you use these screws here to tighten this. And then it's got some set screws on the bottom right here that will slip into this ring and help seat it upwards.
Are there set screws still there?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But they appear to be loose.
Ah.
Yeah. And what we'll do, well, no, we'll put this on first. Ta-da! All right, so that's on there. It's not
And my
twisting.
barrel shroud appears to be straight too.
Yay! So we'll tighten this up. We probably should put some blue Loctite on there just to help make sure they don't come loose again, but nah, it'll be fine. All right, so it's definitely tighter than it was. Let's do this. Oh, tighten the vise down. All right, and now what we're gonna do, pull the pin. There we go. And drop this to here, and we need to get the right one for this, right here. So if you want to get that kit right over there, tighten like Tyga. If you want to find the right bit, I'll pull this out. All right, give it a little twisty twist.
Okay.
How's that feel?
Feeling
pretty tight?
Tight. That one's
That
definitely.
one's loose. Like I said, there's that little opening on the ring, little groove on the ring. These bottom screws go into that groove just to apply pressure, and these side screws help tighten everything down. Probably go just a little bit tighter on this side. And this isn't a torque wrench or anything, but what I like to do is as I'm turning it, I'll go like a torque wrench would. And then I know that I've hit proper torque because I just made the noise with my mouth.
He's not saying that to be funny.
Yep, that's how I fix all my cars. That plane that I worked on, you know, so everything's to spec and the proper torque.
He was using the exact same procedure whenever he was working as a helicopter mechanic over in Los Angeles. And the around, not exactly, but around the same time frame that Kobe's aircraft went down.
Yeah.
And so he was on the board of the NTBA, the people that do all the
Yep.
airplane crashes and everything. And he's the one that pointed out how it definitely wasn't somebody else not tightening things to the specific torque integrator.
Yeah, because I made the sound. So.
Right. So that's obviously a torque.
All right. Well, I would say that this is fixed. But we'll definitely have to take it out onto the range. We're not doing it in this video. Typically, what we had talked about before and what we wanted to do is once we fixed one of the guns we were working on, then we'd go out to the range, test fire it. But it's dark here, and although we're in Louisiana, it is a frigid night and windy.
It is a tad chilly.
And I've lived in Chicago and St. Louis and a few other places, and the cold here is different than the cold up north.
It's wet.
Yeah, and it is, you get that wet cold on you, and it's cold, as we say down here. So that is fixed.
You can see that if the little nipple that had been right here on the inside would have gotten hung up by pressure by the buffer tube, doing this, it wouldn't have brought the bolt home. So we know we did a good job on that. And we won't really be able to tell if we did a good job on anything else until we shoot it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna shoot it, you're gonna shoot it.
I'm gonna
I don't want it to blow up in my face.
Mission accomplished.
The only thing left to do is to put your freaking rifle away.
It is. And I'm gonna do that.
This is not the place to just hang out with a rifle.
I was gonna tell him that I'll just go ahead and put it away.
Yeah. He's gonna put his rifle away and get those celebratory White Claws, if you will.
Oh, okay. Will do.
I should go to the bathroom.
Ooh.
All right, well,
some of you might be asking why a guy that spent as much time as I have around guns doesn't have the...
Oh, that's awful.
doesn't have the experience with working on guns. Well, just think about it like this. Not all race car drivers are also mechanics.
Days of Thunder, you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
If you haven't, you should, because it's an awesome movie. Case in point, he wasn't a mechanic.
Why do people drink these?
I don't know. And you might also be asking yourself, why are these two dudes who obviously don't like White Claws?
Yeah.
Why are they drinking White Claws?
So, at one point in time, we met some scruffy looking fellas that some of you might recognize. We met those fellas over at Brandon Herrera's shop whenever we got invited to the range day to go shoot with Brandon Buckingham, Turkey Tom, Windigoon, and well, we just kind of...
Well, we drank White Claws with them that day.
We drank White Claws with them that day. We drank White Claws with them, or we actually received a White Claw from Donut over at the live show over in Dallas. So, well, we're just kind of seeing what they're all about. Why don't you give another instructional sip?
I love White Claw.
They're fantastic.
I see why Brandon Herrera shoots them all the time. Because they do not taste good.
No.
But I would imagine that the more you drink them, maybe the more the flavor and taste kind of grows on you.
Yeah.
Kind of like whiskey. When I was just a young kid and I was drinking a lot of whiskey.
A wee lad.
Yeah. I always had it with a mixer. Coke, the liquid, not the powder, Sprite, whatever it was. Now I don't like anything in my whiskey except for maybe some ice.
No, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. That is the first episode done where we actually work on a gun on the bench in the room that we built using the tracking system at the ceiling in order to record everything.
Yeah.
And I haven't got done editing it yet, but it seems like it might have gone relatively smoothly.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys giving us some support, liking, sharing, subscribing to our channel. If you haven't done that, we would ask that you please do from the bottoms of our hearts.
We urge you, quietly, not like mean, but
No.
just kind of like, it's like a gentle push on the bottom. Just
Maybe
like,
one
hey.
day forcefully if you don't. But
mean, maybe-
today,
maybe-
no, that'd be just a please.
Maybe some of them like that. You never know.
Oh, hey, I don't want to dig into people's. I mean, I'm more vanilla than whatever. But
Yeah.
You might not be. I have no idea.
I'm more strawberry chocolate.
I don't think he knows what we're talking about.
Kind of got hungry. I think, yeah, I think we've run out of things to talk about.
All right, well, that'll be it for this video. We'll have some other recommended videos popping up. You should check those out and be on the lookout for some other videos because there's several more repairs that we need to do. Still need to fix my Glock because the sights are all wonky on that because some jackass threw it against the target.
Who would do that?
I don't know.
Who would throw your gun against the target to the point where it got messed up?
Wasn't me. Content. And then there's a few other rifles that we need to work on and stuff like that. So we have more of these style videos lined up. They should be better because we'll have already figured things out, or they're just going to be worse because we're just
retarded.
suck. Thank you. I'm going to struggle through this White Claw,
Cheers.
and we'll see you in the next video.
Oh.
God damn it!
Oh.
It's fucking disgusting.